Welcome back to the channel. Today we got my top 6 combos and baits that I'm using to hopefully catch some bass this fall / early winter. This video is supposed to be my tournament video from yesterday for the USA Bass and Open, but had to leave early, hurt my back again. That hurt during work week, not a big deal, and was hoping to make that the video today, and then this week will be my, but I did catch a couple fish before I had to leave. So here's the fish I caught.
I think he's 14. Don't think he's 14. I think he's like 12. Very big, but it's a fish. No, not very big at all. Not even worth measuring. Oh, you got a second one. Not a little one.
Talking to everyone after the tournament, or seeing people posting about it. It was a rough day, so me leaving really didn't do anything. There was like 12 boats, I think, and only 2 people brought a weighable fish in, so rough day. But I'm going to show you some of the combos. Hopefully it's going to help me catch bass this year. We'll talk about some other rods as well. Depends on your fishery, because everyone's fishery and how you fish is different. But I'm going to show you what I'm going to use a lot. And first off is crankbait rod. My main crankbait rod choice is, of course, the Dobyns Cadence 734. Because this rod takes care of all my crankbaits up to about 10-12 feet. If you're a big rock crawler person, or like that little curve 55s, these are like 3/8, they down to like 10 foot. Or any kind of rock crawlers up to about ½ ounce, this rod can handle it. 10-12 feet. Once you get past that, if you're fishing more deeper, I would recommend jumping up to the Dobyns Champion line and going to 765. That thing's phenomenal. Once you get over 10 foot, it will launch a 10-foot crank weighing ½ ounce no problem, and it'll launch up to a 1 ounce crank. I like to throw that river to see their tactical crank. I think that's 1 ounce. It dives like 18-17 feet, and that rod handles it just fine. But all this rod will stay the same though. It's got an SLX 70 smaller reel. That MGL spool launches baits from 1/4 ounce to ½ ounce, doesn't matter. 12-pound sniper. But you see I got flat size season. Little Johns, Rapalas, OG Slim, OG Tiny, all different kind of crankbaits that you're going to be needing to throw this winter. Can be all thrown on this. You can technically throw liplesses and blade baits on it. Just if you have a lot of grass, it would not be the best choice. Most of the grass is dying, but if you're still trying to throw it around grass, rip it out, you're going back to that 765. And that 765 I keep talking about is a non-glass rod. It's still a straight graphite rod. So, but for lighter liplesses or just chucking winding, maybe hitting tip of grass and just kind of popping it, this rod is fine for that. Just if you're trying to rip it out of the grass, this is not the one for you. That 765 would be the one. So we got our crankbait taken care of in the Dobyns Cadence 734. Like I said, that thing is good from 1 foot to 12 foot. About ½ ounce, 5/8 of a weight. Anything more than that, and I'll recommend the Dobyns Champion 765, or your ripping liplesses out 765. So we got the lip, we got the crankbait taken care of. So we got the cranking taken care of. Now we need a movement rod, chatterbaits, spinnerbaits, underspins, call shads, or mag drafts. That's when the Dobyns Caden 744 comes into play. Or if you're throwing those micro tactical A-rigs that weigh like 3/4 of an ounce, perfect rod as well. That's 7 foot 4 inch. Got plenty of length to launch it, like you saw in this video. Perfect chatterbait rod. I know, it's a small one. I know that. I understand that. I don't like glass rods. I'm really not a fan. I've never been a fan of glass rods. So I've always just used graphite rods. This one loads. It's soft enough tip that it loads deep, loads nice and good. This is a 3/8. That new Z-Man Elite 3/8. My Dobyns Caden 744 is paired up with a, I guess you call it, can't be the OG, but the 2018 model of the Bantam. This is a high gear, 16-pound Sunlight Sniper. It's got MGL 1 in it, so you know it's going to cast baits a country mile. But we're going to use that rod for. We're going to throw this Dobyns Caden on is chatterbaits, 3/8, ½ ounce. Spinnerbaits, 3/8, ½ ounce. 6-inch call shads, 1 1/8. Mag drop, I think they're 1 1/5. Because this rod, it's still nice backbone, so you can launch it and not feel like you're overloading the rod. But this rod does a lot of movement stuff really, really well. It could definitely be a backup jig rod, backup football jig rod, Texas rig rod. If you don't have champions or extremes or XSCs, then yes, use this for a nice football jig rod with that 7 foot 4 and heavy power. You still got a big backbone, so you can really launch a big ½ ounce, 5/8, 3/4 ounce football jig and drag them, and still have enough soft tip that when you hit them, you're not blowing their face out, you're not pulling too hard. It still loads good enough with a nice decent backbone to do a lot of different things. But so this is going to be pretty much all my movement stuff, underspins, majority chatterbaits. This year's been a chatterbait year for me. I always say it's all depends on the person. If you're having a really good spinnerbait season in the spring, I would say keep rocking spinnerbaits in the fall. It seems like whatever works really well for me is spring, use the same thing in the fall. And this year so far has been a chatterbait, so I'm going to continue to throw that on that. So we have now thrown a crankbait today and a chatterbait, and getting a couple of them, but they're not really fully committed to them. So maybe it's time to slow down. Maybe they're just acting a little funky. So when we pick up the jerkbait, the jerkbait rod for this fall, really winter, and probably early the next year. I'll probably rock this for at least a year before I get something else. But this is the Fury 705. It's the most affordable rod that we've looked at this point. I think these are now $130, $139. They do make the same model in the Maverick series in the 7. It's a 705 CB, same action. That's $100. Always look for deals. There's a ton of Dobyns deals right now as this video is being made. I know if you're a part of Tackle Warehouse mailing list, they're doing a 20% off, I think, everything. And then American Legacy, I think it has Dobyns rods at 25%. I think the code's like pumpkin 25 or something. But go American Legacy website and see. So there is definitely deals, and American Legacy's got a ton of used rods right now. So definitely grab a couple of Dobyns rods before the season really ends. Anyway, my main concern with the 705 was maybe too powerful for these 97, 96 size jerkbaits you saw in previous video. Once again, not giant smallmouth, but smallmouth are losing their absolute mind. It pinned these little hooks still in them. They're jumping. Really, really solid, actually, solid jerkbait rod so far. This jerkbait, it loads the tip enough to get a good cast on it. And like I said, it's nice and soft tip to work it, but it loads up quick. But when they hit them, the rod loads really, really good. Overall, I've been really, really impressed with the 705 so far this fall. I have it paired up with, I think it's technically now its 2nd gen, because the new gen come around in November. Lew's LFS with 12-pound Sunline Sniper again. Overall, great combo. And this is the same thing as kind of the chatterbait. I'm mainly going to be throwing the 97, 96. I forget which one the smaller provoke exact size is. We're mainly throwing that, but this also rod's going to handle the 106 really well. I do throw the deep diving of the 96 and the 106. I think this rod's going to handle just fine. So all your traditional sizes, 95s, 10s, even Vision 110s, the Fury 705s will work just fine for you for jerk baiting, because technically, if you look at the ratings, how Gary Dobbins built this rod is that you can throw a Stacy 90 on it, and I think that weighs like a ½ ounce as a 90 size, but it's also layable for most jerk baits. So it's a really good just rod to pick up, but also blade baits, because it is soft. You can throw a ½ ounce, 3/8 blade bait on that, or a lipless. So if you're looking to, you don't really want a big 7'6" lipless rod and you just want to do some hopping or just some fan casting, the 705 could be multi-purpose. The only problem mainly going to have is some people like liplesses and throwing it on 16-pound fluoro. So if you're cool with throwing it on 10, 12-pound fluoro, then you can make this rod multi-purpose. If they're not really eating the jerk bait, or they've been eating that flat side really good or a chabby really well, you can pull the jerk bait off, tie a lipless, and then go have some fun with this. So that'd be the only downside to this combo, is if you like throwing 16 pounds on liplesses, you're gonna be only having 12 or 10 pound on this. But for me, liplesses is usually just doing some bottom hopping. Usually the flat side takes care of most of my shallow cranking. This rod would be mainly a jerk bait. If I notice them are kind of deeper and I just can't get my jerk baits to them, then I'm gonna just tie a blade bait on and start hopping, or even a jig and spoon. Well, we're out. We tried flat sides, we tried chatter baits, we tried some jerk baits, and can't really get anything to bite, but we're still noticing we want to kind of go flip some wood and just see, maybe they're on wood, or we want to grab it, we want to drag a big jig. And we already had that Cadence 744 rigged up with a chatterbait, and we don't feel like cutting it off and trying other rods. So that's when the Dobbins Champion 744 comes in. No, it is not the same action as the Cadence. This is actually rigged. This is actually set up to be their jig rod special. It's a heavy, extra fast. It's a lot stouter of a rod than the 744, even though it's rated for 1/4 to 1 ounce. This rod is labeled as a jig rod special, Carolina rigs and Senkos. What I've used it mainly for this year is free rigging around some cover. This fall I'm going to be doing some football jigs fishing with this, ½ ounce, 5/8, and just doing some normal ball head type flipping with this. Right now I have a Blues Pro SP. That's just because we're still flipping around shallow wood. If I was planning on going out and fishing some deeper offshore stuff, wood, I would be swapping it out with a Bantam. So I'll probably bring that Bantam with me, have it ready, so if I notice they're not shallow, they're deeper, I can swap the reel out and go fishing. That is a big pro. If you don't want to have multiple rods, you want to have a couple, you can bring extra reels and swap the reels out so you can carry different line sizes. But the 744 is going to take care of all our soft plastics. If you're doing a lot more punching, then the 744 can only do that well for you for punching. Then you need to go to the actual punch rods through the Dobbins line. Or if you're flipping some around some still thicker cover, then you can always hop up to the Dobbins Champion Extreme 746. That's their 7'4", 6 power. It's a pretty decent punch rod. I don't do a ton of punching here, so it'd probably work as a backup punch rod, or an ounce and a quarter weight. But for what we do, grass is not really a play for us right now, so this is more still flipping around cover. So you'll be seeing a lot of free rigs on this, plain Texas rigs, and then just your normal traditional Arky head jigs, and like I said, once they get a little bit deeper, football jigs. So Dobbins Champion 744 is going to take care of all our slow moving baits. All right, so we tried flat side crankbait, we tried some chatter baits, caught some fish on jerk bait, and we did a little bit of flipping. But now we need to be a little more finesse. That's when the Dobbins Cadence 712, specifically the 2-power medium light rods. They make the 2 powers everywhere from the Maverick series all the way up to the Ecstasy line. So it really depends on what you really want to do. My hope this fall is to, like you saw in yesterday's video, is just throw a nice downsize underspin. That's a little cool baits underspin. I think it's like a 1/8 ounce and a little 3-inch whale. This is my hope, is that I can just bring this little underspin out and catch some fish with a downside underspin. If I still need a scope, the Kadence 712 is a perfect scoping rod. A little bit stiffer backbone, but a nice soft tip, so I can really get the bait working. But also, it works as a really good drop shot and Ned rig rod as well. I do have a DX 702, so a lot of the actual true bottom contact fishing, Ned rig, drop shot, probably throwing on that, and then this would be designated more for movement stuff. But I got a Revo XX on here. You know this came from my Sierra series. It's a really, really good reel. It casts baits a mile, and it's got a really, really good drag system, so I can go down to 6-pound line and not have the fear of losing a big fish because of my braking system, my drag system, sorry. So the Kadence 712, SF is going to take care of most of our finesse movement stuff. Like I said, underspins, some spy baits, and then if we need to get any true downsize, true bottom contact, then that DX will probably come in play, but that Kadence 712 SF is a really good underrated spinning rod. So the next two combos are more of what I hope happens. These combos are never like big time players for me in the fall. I don't know what it is. I suck in the fall. I am one of the worst anglers, I feel like, in the world at fall fishing, which should be some of the best fishing around, but I struggle for whatever reason. So the next two rods are for when those days do come out, and they are a blast. I can really have fun with these rods. First one is a topwater rod. I've been playing with this topwater series pretty much all year, including last year. And overall, I really dig it as a nice budget entry level topwater rod. If you are more into more serious topwater rod, that Kadence 734 is an awesome walking bait rod. It can handle 100s, 110 size walking baits, and when they eat, that rod loads so deep into their blank, so you don't have to worry about them coming off. I run mine braid to mono, so braid at least have a little bit more pressure, I guess you want to call it. But like I said, if you're a water guy who's able to do a lot more punching at this time of year and frogging, then I would recommend the Dobyns Champion 735 or even the 736 if they're really into stuff and you gotta get them out. But if you're just like me who goes out, throws some poppers, buzz baits, God, this can be some really good smaller buzz bait fishing, or just topwater period. This little Maverick 733 has been a really surprise rod for me this year on that. I got mine paired up with a Dobyns Maverick bait casting reel. Overall, the reel is pretty solid. Really don't have any major complaints with it. I put 30-pound braid, or yeah, 30-pound. This is Strike King Core Contra. It's a little bit thicker than Silvex 832, and I couldn't get any Berkeley X9 at the time, but it's not bad braid. Ties really good leaders, or ties good leader knots. But overall, the reel's not been bad. It's not been too bad at all. It launches baits, is pretty comfortable. It's got a nice big size handle. Just so you know, this handle knob is not rated for your trolling motor handle, your little step thing to land on and then bounce. It's not rated for that. It bent my handle a little bit, but anyway. But overall, pretty solid reel. And if you look at the combo, it's a full combo for 200 bucks. If you buy it as a pre-made combo, I think they mark them down like 180 or something, but for under 200 bucks, or if you bought them during the mailing list rod, then the reel will be 20% off, rod will be 20% off. It's a $160 rod to do some good topwater fishing that you can pretty much use whatever. So I got a popper on here. This is a 1/2 ounce popper. I've also thrown a 3/8 Strike King popper. Like I said, a 106, 110 walking bait. I've done 80 size. I've thrown 100 size Wapo Choppos. No, sorry, Choppos are 90s. Choppo 90s, and then the big Whopper ploppers, 110s, I think, whatever the 1 ounce is. So it's done a lot of different topwater for me this year, and it's handled pretty good. I mean, is it the best topwater rod in the world? No, I still prefer my Kadence, but for a nice entry-level combo, this 733 has been really, really nice. Last rods is more of a technique that it's really hit and miss for me. I wish it was more. I wish I caught more fish on it because I know how fun it is, but it's just one of those things. This is a Dominance Champion 764. This rod I've been kind of using here and there all year. Just doesn't have a really good spot in my lineup. Just something I don't really need. If I'm doing light flipping, I'm picking up the 744. If I'm doing like legit jig shallow fishing, I'm picking up the 746 DX. There's other rods I would use in exchange for this. But do want to throw different stuff on this. So I know it says small swim baits. I've heard people throwing mag drafts. So I'm going to try to throw some. So traditionally on my A-rigs, you know, my 2 ounce, 2.5 ounce, I'm throwing on the Dominance Champion 794 swim bait rod. That's my main A-rig rod. But I wanted to throw some smaller A-rigs. So I picked up some of these tactical or Hog Farmer tactical minis. And with 3 1/8 ounce weights, I think this thing came out just 1.25 ounces, I think is what it came out weighing. So I do have some other A-rigs set up that are just about 1 ounce. So I want to try some smaller A-rigs on this. A-rigs, it's just, I should be so much better at them because we have a lot of highland lakes around us and low Ren, but A-rigs is one of those things. But an A-rig, I know it can be really, really big at this time of year. Like I said, it's really hit and miss for me. But also this can handle some top hook baits. You know, but I at least want to show off my A-rig combo for the year just because I don't catch any. I know a lot of people throw, hopefully get out and get a couple good A-rig days with this, but also the 764, it can be used for a lot of different things. A lot of people throw some mag drafts on it, 6-inch, definitely any top hook type swim baits, you know, just straight swim baits, you know, a little bit heavier heads. A lot of people use some for light flipping, Carolina rigging, like I said, just, it's a little beefy for what I need. But anyway, so I got a same 2018 Shimano Bantam on there, 6-speed. I think I just have 16-pound sniper on that. So with that being said, this is some of the combos I'm hoping that's going to help me the rest of the year. Really only have it about middle of November, and then I go on vacation for 2 weeks, and pretty much by the time I get back, it'll be early December. And I'll probably go out one more time, but it probably won't be video worthy. So hope you guys enjoyed. Hope this helps. Like I said, definitely check out Tackle Warehouse if you're part of the mailing list, and American Legacy if you're looking to pick up any of these Dobbins rods or reels. Check out those links. I'll link below. I'm not affiliate with it. Just they're pretty good deals right now. Before we get to like Black Friday, you know, we'll get better deals. But right now, if you're still a month or two away from the end of the season, pick up another rod to fish the rest of the season. So, I'd like to support the businesses that support me. All their contact information will be in my description. But until then, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.